Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Thinking Tuesday. It's good to be back. I especially look forward to sharing today's message with you because it's been a while since I've brought a Thinking Tuesday message to you. So, welcome, and it's good to be back. To use one of the contemporary colloquial terms of the day, life be lifing, which means that life has been taking its toll. Life has been taking its course in my life in the past few months. That has really caused me to prioritize some things, which caused me to put some things aside temporarily, put them on the back burner. Some things I've taken off my plate permanently, and some things are still being considered or evaluated. So, the major reason for my recent absence was the declining health and subsequently the passing on August 10th of my beloved 103-year-old mother who lived with me and with whom I had a really, really close relationship. I miss her every day. It was like no other experience that I've ever had. And some of you who've lost a loved one, loved them, especially your mother, a parent, you know, you know what I'm thinking about, or anyone that's been close to you. There have been mixed feelings, constant decision making over the months, feelings of vulnerability, fears, highs and lows, making every effort, though, to enjoy every possible moment and coming to terms ultimately that the end of her life was near and that it had finally come. I'm still grieving, as you would imagine. It's only been a little over a month. But I'm grieving even with the joy of knowing that my husband and I served her as best as we could. She lived with us for 25 long years and we enjoyed every moment of it. We feel that we've been honored that we were there for her throughout this journey, and that now that she's transitioned to another level, which is eternal, which brings us joy, and that we will meet with her someday again based on our faith. So while I could go on and on about what a wonderful woman she was, which she certainly was, and the sadness of not having here with us daily, I'm choosing now how to spend these few minutes with you today because we are here to reflect on our monthly theme, which is Thinking Tuesday. And my Thinking Tuesday messages relate to how I have been navigating through these very challenging times in my life. If you've been a regular follower of my messages, my Thinking Tuesday messages, or if you're here for the first time, you'll recall or take note of our motto, which is your mind is a garden and your thoughts are the seeds. And you can choose flowers or you can choose weeds. And what that means is that at any given moment, any given time, we are choosing, whether we realize it or not, but we are choosing what we think. And that leads to the results that we ultimately have. Because as we think, so we feel. Thinking drives feelings. And as we feel, so we do. Our feelings drive our actions, what we do. And as we act, whatever choice we decide, whether it's conscious or not, you're making a choice, that's going to give you your result. So I can't stress enough, and during this time, it's really been reinforced in my life. I can't stress enough that we have control of our results based on how we think of the circumstances that we find ourselves in at any given moment. So, how do you control your thoughts to get the results that you want? It's really an inside job. Often we want things outside to pass, to pass or to change. I could wish that my mom was here forever and ever, but I choose to think of the fact that she was here for 103 years. That's the way I flipped it. Yes, I feel sad that she's gone, but I treasure all those years that she had. And for most of her life, she lived a healthy life. She enjoyed her life, and I was part of it. As Wayne Dyer said, and he said it very well, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Just think about that. The way you think about things determine how you're going to feel about those things, and how you feel about those things determine what you will do, and what you do is going to change the results that you have, or determine the results you have. So when you change the way you look at things or think about things, the things that you look at, the way you think about things change, because you have a different perspective. So this period in my life has brought up many feelings, definitely some of grief and some of joy. Yes, I've experienced joy as well. But what has guided me is knowing that I can choose my thoughts. That's what's kept me going also. At any given moment, I can choose how I think and have the experience that I want, or come close to it. But I don't leave it to chance. Sometimes I have chosen to allow myself to grieve. Grieve completely, no holds bar. And I don't think you want to see that, but no holds bar. I've chosen. I allow my thoughts to go there. I know grieving is something natural. I don't want to hold things back just because I don't want to, I'm concerned about how I look to other people or whatever. No, grieving is natural. I'm going to allow myself to do that. So I think that, and I give myself permission to do that. If I feel the feelings coming on, I allow them to come forth. But at other times, I choose to interrupt those thoughts, my thoughts, to allow me to manage my emotions. Because remember, how I think, that's going to determine how I feel. So I have other things to do. Life goes on, even though my mom is gone. Life goes on, and I have things to do. So I allow myself sometimes to interrupt thoughts, whatever thoughts they might be, so that I can manage my emotions and get other important things done. I practice many of the techniques. I found myself repeating physician, heal thyself. I practice many of the techniques that I share with my clients to help them regulate their thoughts and manage various levels of emotions that they might experience, so that they can build resilience and tap into those inner resources that we all have, but are often unaware of, unfortunately, or don't take the time to find and develop. We all have those resources. I'm no different than you. I go through the emotions that you go through. But I know that I have control over them. I can bring them on, I can turn them off. But a lot of it is based, or all of it is based on your thinking. One of those techniques is the stop technique. You might have heard me mention it before, which is a daily exercise. You don't wait until it happens, but you practice daily how to interrupt unresourceful thoughts, thoughts that are interfering with your ability to function at your best, and replace them with more resourceful thoughts to build confidence and resilience. And when mastered, this becomes your default way of operating, giving you more control over those negative thoughts and emotions that are unproductive, that keep you in a place, that keep you stuck, that keep you in a downward spiral or take you down there. So that's the stop technique. That becomes your default way of operating, to show that you have control over what you think and the results that it lead to. While attending to my mom during her illness and sleeping in the hospital or the rehab, which I did consistently, where she was on various occasions, I found myself looking for lessons that I could learn during this experience. I've come to believe or know that there is always a lesson in your experience. Don't stop looking for lessons that you can learn from your experience, your unique experience. I often thought about self leadership because I was going through this experience which I'd never had, and looking at how was I managing myself, my self-care, my mental health, the thoughts I was thinking, physically how I was feeling. I found myself thinking a lot about self-leadership. At that time, and I don't believe it's in coincidences, but at that time I was offered an invitation to co-author a book on leadership unveiled, which is an anthology of 12 contributing authors on different perspectives of leadership. I chose to write on the thing that was uppermost on my mind, which was the leader within, unveiling your authentic leadership identity. Those are the things that I was thinking about at the time of my mom's illness, but that's something that I've come to embrace, because if you don't know yourself, you can't grow yourself. And if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anybody else. So that is the most important task that I feel that we have. I often found myself writing at night. I found a discipline to write at night while staying over with my mom and reflecting on the experience of self-leadership during this period. I also reflected on the lessons that I've been learning from her. Some of them had escaped me, but I brought myself back as I watched her even then and before, as I watched her navigate through her life and then during her illness. What was her self-leadership like? It was amazing to see, even at 103, how she was managing through those difficult times in her life. At her homegoing, I shared a prayer which I found that she wrote. She found it years ago. She copied it in her own handwriting, and she repeated that every day. And it's about how she thought about herself and the day that she would have, what she wanted to promote in terms of her behavior, how she wanted to interact with others, what she wanted to see in others. I don't have it here at my fingertips, but it tells about who she was and how she guided her life and the thoughts that she had that helped her navigate her life as long as she knew this prayer. And it was years. And I treasure that, especially because it's in her own handwriting also. And it helps me to understand what her experience, what her personal experience was. But of the many things that I noted, three main things stood out to me. And those were her faith, her persistence, and her patience. Faith, persistence, and patience. It's clear to me that one cannot achieve these things without choosing what they think and how they think. You don't just snap your fingers and have faith or have persistence or have patience. Those are things that you have to work through, think through. These three values are not adopted without intentional thinking and making choices which ultimately determine how you feel and the results that you're going to have. Again, how you think, what you feel, and what you do, and what you have. So these three values, as I mentioned, cannot be adopted without some real intentional thinking and making choices which ultimately going to determine how you feel and the results you're going to have, whether you can still enjoy, experience joy and hope in the midst of challenges, or allow yourself to live in despair. That's a big decision that your thoughts can help you to make and stay in the positive side. These are some of the lessons that I have chosen to think into and develop as I think about my mom and her self-leadership and how I want to lead my life. I encourage you to find those resources within you and develop them to build resilience and hope, especially in these tumultuous times. We have to find something to anchor ourselves to. Our faith, our thoughts. Find a way to build resilience. Because this current environment can really drag you down if you don't feed yourself on good thoughts. I encourage you to find those things within you. I'm pleased that during this process, I've learned more about giving myself grace to do what I need to do as part of my self-care and my self-leadership. It's a task worth doing, and it brings great dividends, great dividends. So I'm happy to be back, and I look forward to sharing with you another Thinking Tuesday message in October next month. These are monthly. And as I've done in the past, I want to invite you to share this message with someone that you feel could find value in it. Go over it yourself. Don't just lay it down, but we change, we transform when we try things on, when we let them, when we reflect on them, when we allow them to take a place in our hearts and in our minds. My previous messages, as you know, may be found on my YouTube channel, Thinking Tuesday, Cheryl Burton. Okay, so go back if you want to see other messages. This one will also be posted there. And feel free to reach out to me through my website, drcherylburton.com, for a complimentary confidential consultation if there's anything that's weighing heavy on your mind, something you want to think through, anything that you would like to have a sounding board for. Feel free to call. I'll be pleased to offer you a complimentary confidential consultation. And please stay tuned for the book I mentioned, Leadership Unveiled. It will be released on October 1st. And also stay tuned for information about my book signing event on November 2nd. So it was a pleasure. It's great to be back. I look forward to seeing you next month, October. And be good to yourself. Take some time to reflect. What is it I'm thinking? What is it that's driving me? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? Why am I getting the results that I'm getting? Sometimes we're not aware of what we're thinking, but if we go from the results and try to move ourselves back, well, what was I thinking that might have led to this result? What was I feeling that might have driven me to take the action I took? So give yourself some grace. Don't beat up on yourself, but look for those inner resources. You have them. They're treasures. You got to dig for them. If you need some help finding them, feel free to reach out to me, like I said, for a confidential, complimentary consultation. So take care, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. And keep an eye out for that book on October 1st and information about the book signing, which will take place on November 2nd. Take care. Bye.